Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Welcome to episode 272 of the AllYouCanHear podcast. I'll be your host today, Patrick. And joining me today are my two catastrophic co-hosts.
Big shitty plop Colt. Big plops of shit, big stinky plop plops.
Cursed Wenzel.
Yeah, it's pretty cursed, all right. Either covered in dookie or covered in dangerous incantations and scripts.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you covered in poop or curses, Pat?
What if I told you I'm covered in cursed poops?
Oh no, that's bad.
I mean, look, we all make choices, and I made the choice to punch open a sacred tunnel and crawl around inside. It turns out it wasn't really that sacred. It was just a drainage pipe.
I was about to say, like, did you just go into someone's sewer system?
It was a sacred drainage pipe.
All right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Even the holiest of holies has to drop a couple of turds every once in a while.
Man, that really fits into what we're talking about.
It's very apropos, strangely, how that works.
More so with the first movie than the second, actually. That's really bizarre.
Yeah, we'll have to rewatch the second one to watch for any poops. But it's summertime, and there's a couple of scary movies that have been making their rounds lately. It's up to us to give the official declarative opinions on these films. Of course, we set the standards for horror movies now.
Stop worrying about it.
Yeah, and Wenzel's definitely not blowing off the statue of a man.
Yeah,
It's Deathstroke.
Oh yeah.
Blowing off, Deathstroke. Come on, it sets itself up.
Gross.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, easy over there. So the two movies we talk about today is Mad God and Incantation, both streaming currently. Mad God on Shudder, a horror streaming service, and Incantation on Netflix.
A terribly dying streaming service.
I mean, they're dying in the sense that they're making more and more live actions of animes.
They're not dying, but they're making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Why the fuck do they make a live action Yu Hakusho?
Why'd they cut their animation department?
What the fuck? Do you not remember? Like, I watched the first two episodes of Resident Evil. I know it's not anime. I enjoyed the first episode. I think they're fun. They're a little cheesy. But then I've seen some videos online of some further in quotes. I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to continue watching.
Wait, what show?
Resident Evil 2022. Just came out. There's a scene where one of the characters has a dance party to a popular pop song. I can't remember. It looks so fucking bad. But do they not remember the... I'm a male and I'm black, so kind of is blackmail. From Cowboy Bebop.
What the fuck? I don't remember that.
I brought it up on the podcast.
No, I'm sure, but like
That does sound familiar.
I left my mind.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean, like, they had that whole fucking thing about being careful about their budgets and working on, one or two movies that are like going to do really well, really good. And then they're like, let's make more live action anime adaptions.
But listen, guys, going to the movie theaters is elitist. The Russo brothers said it themselves.
All right.
We have to sit at home, and be within our class conscious movie watching area and watch The Gray Man from the comfort of our couches.
I will be watching that movie instantly as soon as it comes out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we're not talking about fucking Netflix being a pile of shit. We're going to be talking about the piles of shit that are in Mad God.
Yeah, because there's a lot of doo-doo in this movie.
So much poopy, a lot of stinky.
Just big plops, big eldritch, stinky turds.
That's where I come from.
I wouldn't even say eldritch. I would just say like some fucking mad, stupid poops.
And what a watch, because for reference, the whole gang got together last night to watch these two movies for Wenzel's belated birthday. And we thought, watching a movie that was just filled to the brim with just liquid hunky shits after just chowing down on chicken tenders was the smartest move to make.
Because like all the reviews talk about how much poop's in there, and I'm just like, there can't possibly be that much poop. We'll be fine. I mean, we were fine, but my God, there was like, from beginning to end, it was just nothing but poop. Like, when I think about, I would have never gotten that from the trailer I originally watched for Mad God.
Yeah.
I appreciate a trailer that saves stuff for the actual experience. They don't give it all away. They didn't give a single drop of shit in those trailers.
They did not. They did it. That is fucking true.
It looked gritty and dark, but there was no poopy.
There was no poopy. But how?
I mean, like we're on the poop bit because haha funny, but go in knowing there's going to be a lot of poo poo in this movie.
There's so much fucking feces.
There's a lot more besides the poo poo, but that's just like that's what gets people to the dance.
Yeah.
And then it's all the other nightmarish, hellish images in the movie that just keeps you there, rooted to your seat.
Yeah, no.
We saw ball titties.
Yeah.
Just like swinging pendulous balls with like open sores that look like nipples.
They look like nipples, yeah. It was so fucking disgusting.
What the this movie, I loved it so much. I know it sounds like we're saying it's shitty, but I mean,
we're not.
It is shitty.
There's so much.
But it's not.
We're not
shitty.
kidding with how much poop there's in this movie. Like, so, like Pat said, we did this for my birthday, and I like. Again, had no idea too, because like it was so funny because whenever Mad God released on Shudder, like we were gonna watch movies for my birthday, and Pat was just like begging, hoping we didn't watch Mad God. I was like, just you could have just said something, like, so we saved it, and then like hearing all the fucking reviews about like there's so much poop. And I can't stress enough how much fucking poop there is in this movie. But goddamn, is it pretty?
Yeah, it's
not
absolutely.
the poop.
It's beautiful in a disgusting way.
Yeah,
because the whole film is, well, I would say a majority of the film is stop motion with like mixed media with like, so you have live action in there, like integrated into the stop motion with like real human actors or like human stand-ins for like more intricate close-ups, and like toward the end of the movie this very dreamlike and sort of just weird mixed media for the latter part. But it is such a visually dense movie. It's almost 2 decades in the making.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. It was originally released into chunks that he would upload until finally he was able to put it all together into one film, and it came out last year, in select places. And so ever since we saw the trailer, I was like, man, I really want to fucking see this movie. And then when it got finally announced for Shudder, I was like, fuck yes, like this has been one of I would say one of my most hyped up movies for 2021 and 2022. Really want to see it, and I'm finally glad we did, because it really paid off. It like I guess Colt said this last night, kind of scratched an itch that you didn't know like was there, I guess, like with like stop motion. Like I've been wanting some good stop motion animation for a long time, I guess, and the only other one I would say is akin to that would be The Wolf House. I recommend that too. But it was great. And I like your review, Pat, where you called it the adult version of I Spy.
I mean, it is, if y'all remember those children's book called I Spy, it was like basically it's these 2-page spreads of just like little assemblages with like little bitty like toys and figures and like blocks, and just like in this giant panoramic picture that you just like, oh, look for these 3 things. You take your time and look for them, but also you'd be looking across this It's like, a Where's Waldo type of thing, where you're just sort of scanning over the entire pages looking for like all the little like stories and scenes and just little bits, and that's what you give to a kid back in the day. Just like let them just like wow, marvel at the intricacy of these images, and that's exactly what this is. I wanted to stop every time it changed scene to just be like, hold on, let me just look at everything.
For real, like, because I was sitting there, and Colt was too. We were just sitting there, like, pointing out stuff, like, "Hey, I know that," or "I know that," because having been around my dad and growing up again with like the plastic models hobby, there were so many like kits, like in their fully built kits that Phil Tippett, the director, or maybe somebody he got on his crew, built. Included it in the set, that I thought was like, damn, that's really cool. Like, because like I said, I recognized so much, and it was like I don't know, it was I'm trying to think how to describe it. I mean, it's really like an I Spy kids book, where I was like, hey, there's fucking, oh man, it's this type of model series, Plastic Model Society, where I don't know why I said Plastic Model Society. That's a group that me and my dad, we go to their convention, but no, there's like these kits, they're like retro World War II, if there were mechs, kind of, they're implemented in like the background, and like at first you think like, oh well, maybe Phil Tippett's just got these to be like random decorations, and I mean he did for the most part, but I like to think that like it's kind of in a way of like a built up of like human like culture, because he like not only that, he had like several different like toys and figurines and statues of like different deities and gods and different like culture characters. Like I saw the fucking, I think, a creature from the Argonauts, that that if you remember that very old film, like I saw that, like saw
a cookie jar,
like all these different just things, these objects, and I think it's just like kind of like an accumulation and build up of all of our shit, basically.
Because it interesting, like I would say like the first third of the movie is like this Dante's Inferno like journey, how he's just
descending,
because there's like really no dialogue.
There's none.
And you see this being like lowered down on this infinitely long string in a capsule, passing through all these different levels, and you just some are like literally you just sort of see in passing, and then when he finally touches down, he starts exploring on foot the rest of the world, and you're just like, it's just really kind of overwhelming, like how much there is to look at. And it is interesting how it feels so dreamlike in the best and worst ways. How it's just like there's a wonder to it, but simultaneously there's just like it's one of the most beautiful movies I ever felt just a hopeless dread by.
Yeah,
because you just feel trapped, even though this passerby is just visiting through all these different like sequences and levels.
It's so claustrophobic,
and just like it just. There's one level where the shit really comes into play, or just like it's a very like overt critique of like the futility and of capitalism, and like just the thanklessness of just labor, and literally the workers are molded from the shit of these electrocuted giants, and it's just like sloppily dropping like plops just pouring out of these electrocuted mummies' assholes.
Yeah, no, me and Colt, because Colt was asking these really important questions, like, who are these people? Why do they need their shit? Like, because it was like we couldn't really see their faces. They were like
they're largely featureless.
Yeah, they were largely featureless, but they were like these big enormous heads with these bodies. They were wearing like not janitors, but like onesie, like type of like cleaning uniform.
Yeah.
But like there's a hole in the bottom because literally they're in a chair being electrocuted constantly, having diarrhea. And then it gets fucking worse because we were like, oh my God, is that shit? It gets worse because then the protagonist descends down to see what's underneath where all that shit's going. It goes directly into a fucking mouth.
And the mouth is just like slopping it up, and then like it pours through like these giant inflating like bladders almost. and then that sort of funneled down into like
a
this
furnace
that's like press molding the workers made from this shit, and they sort of like autonomously fall in line to like stoke the fires and work in this giant like infernal factory.
Infernal shit factory.
Yeah, because it's like, oh my god, I'm trying to remember because there was like so much happening on screen, no fucking words. It was like they were doing different like labor jobs, like in some of their, I mean, I don't want to say some of their jobs, but like they would just die.
Like either they'll just get like, there's a sequence where there's a monster operating a steamroller and just like plows through all these little shit people, and the shit people are just sort of like, they're barely conscious, so like they don't even really react to being killed, or these giant monoliths are shooting through the air, and they'll just be so many moments where they'll just get like splattered, and just be like a dookie blob just hits the camera.
Yeah, like it. And I mean, oh gosh, and there's like, and of course they're being the only sort of sense of direction that they have is a fucking intercom speaker system that, like, again, no dialogue, it's just baby sounds.
Yeah, I forgot about babies.
But then like you'll see a monitor with like this grotesque mouth just
flaky.
like making or like overdubbed with the baby noises.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, I it looked like a real person's mouth, but with a lot of makeup on it.
Yeah, that's what it was. I hope.
It's like I don't want to know what it is.
Yeah, because it just like, oh god, it was so disgusting. And then I mean, and then the laborers are having to also kill and harvest these giant larvae creatures for some reason, doing something, I don't know. And then there's then we really get into the shit with these taskmaster, they're I don't want to say managers, but they're like, they'll whip them, and there's a moment in there where a little creature comes up, and then we see this big old, bipedal, I would say like a kind of like a T-Rex, because it has two arms, but like two huge fucking legs and two just huge fucking testicles that are covered in sores, so it looks like nipples. It's so disgusting. But then you can see their asshole, and this little creature that's like a worm thing comes up, taps it in the asshole, then pulls it out, and then shit just starts spewing out. That's actually has nothing to do with anything. That's just something that happens.
Yeah, there's so many details in this movie. You could probably watch it 3 times and
find something new to focus on. Because it's just, it's like, we skipped over a bit where before he gets to the shit level, where he's in like this junkyard level.
Oh, and
there's like this like
invisible man that's like,
he's dressed like the Universal Monster Invisible Man with like bandages and like a coat, but like he has no operational legs, so he's like rigs up this electrical trap to like catch this little creature to eat, but then like the noise wakes up this horrible monster living in a building with a cleaver
with big titties,
huge monstrous titties, and he's like starts rah-rahing at it, and then he just gets chopped up with the cleaver, and the protagonist just like, bye.
But also too, the guy, the invisible guy, he makes monkey sounds.
Yeah,
there's a lot of overdub of animal sounds.
Yeah, and then also too, the building that fucking monster was from too, like there was like these windows where it was like kind of like a, I guess like shadow play, where like there's one window where it was like, oh, sex sounds, ooh, and then there's another window where it's like a guy stabbing as a woman or something, and then there's another one where it's like typing, and it's just like, this world is just so like, if it was just nothing happening, just quiet, it would be like I think a pleasant dream. Pleasant dream. But when it's alive and being inhabited, it's fucking hell.
It's her. And then there's a secret, I think even after that, but before the shit level, where like he's walking further into like this kind of catacomb of like piping, comes into like a iron room, opens the door, there's like a monkey on a table.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck.
Just kind of like lying there like helplessly. There's like two little like things, like rat things, like kind of swatting each other in their cage.
One of them has a human head. There's also a newt in water.
Just
Most
vibing.
normal thing in the
Most normal fucking thing.
And then there's like a shit covered doll finger blasting herself.
Yeah.
And it's like we know something horrifying is happening in there because the monkey guy is strapped up. It's like basically begging for help, and then the protagonist just shuts the fucking door, and we hear screams, and it's like, what the fuck was going on in there?
Yeah, I'm not gonna investigate. You know what?
I know,
That
like-
sucks for you, bro.
Like, and it was so like, I've never even though the protagonist doesn't say anything, he's just sitting there breathing in his like gear or whatever. I'm just like, yeah. Like, I get it.
Even though you get like these pangs of just like that feels sad, but at the same time I feel like if I got involved in anybody's story, I would just be like squished.
Yeah.
Fuck. I forget again so much shit. When he first touched down to walk for the first time, he's walking along and he steps on these little live action gnomes fighting over a Santa suit.
I forgot about that. That happened. There were these little live action gnomes, and he just steps on them and they die, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And that's not the first time though we see very, very tiny people though. Like that, I forgot that happened. And the dude has a map, and every time he uses it, it just fucking falls apart.
Because it's a very old, like, crumbling map. So he unfolds as, like, little pieces of it fall away. So you get the impression that he's looking for something, or, like, this realm that he's in is, like, in the body of a eldritch creature or something. Or
It's so bizarre because we find out later that he's coming from somewhere, obviously, but he's coming from somewhere really fucking high. But whenever they first ascend, they go through a layer of liquid, which is weird.
You do see that when the past of a protagonist, a soldier, is sort of elaborated on.
That part I still don't understand. Yeah, like it's so bizarre because like also too like there's at the very beginning of the movie we're shown like I guess a ziggurat. Oh no, not ziggurat. It's like a Tower of Babel kind of thing, and it was so funny because there was no sound, and somebody had to turn on the sound, and of course they turn on the sound perfectly right when the fucking lightning strikes.
So just like
it was an explosion of sound. It was really cool, and we get like a Leviticus Bible verse.
Or Bible passage.
Yeah. It was
and it's just like, this sounds really fucked up. And then it's like, Leviticus is pretty fucked up.
And yeah, sorry.
And so there's just so much to try to recall. But then we're still only in the first third of the movie. But where the first third is sort of climaxed is that the protagonist is like, is additionally setting up what looks like a briefcase bomb. And just like this cavernous like room full of briefcases, and then he's captured by this thing,
this mechanical flesh thing,
and then like there's a curtain closed, you see an audience, and then the protagonist on a table behind a partition like a shroud, and you see a doctor show up, and these two things like kind of live action kind of disrobe him at that scene, and then it opens back up into like this, like these miniature combed rooms of like bodies on.
We can see past protagonists,
and I just
they're dead,
potentially just like blood and guts everywhere, and it zooms into the cube that he's in or they're in, and he's just like wrapped it like a mummy. He's like anesthetized, tubes everywhere, and one
eye,
bloodshot eye, just like wiggling around wildly, and then. Two live action actors, a doctor and a nurse, come in, and then he's like vivisected, like he's cut open, and then the doctor is just like scooping out for minutes, just armfuls
treasures
of blood and guts covered like riches, and he pulls out this tentacle baby thing,
furry baby thing, by the way, that has teeth,
and it won't shut the fuck up.
It won't shut the fuck up.
It's squalling for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's so bizarre because and the thing is too, there's a moment too when he's looking at the clock, and the clock is just ticking so fucking slow, and like I guess you get the sense of like dread of like, fuck, I'm being operated on and I'm fucking awake. But also too, like time is weird because when he tried to set off the dynamite, the clock is right there, the hand is about to move, but then it moves back moves forward, back, forward, back.
Malfunctions, so it's just like ticking in place.
Yeah.
And then when he's in the operating room, you see like the clock start to slowly like
go slow
down, and it's just like, okay, this is when a second is, and then it eventually just stops altogether. And then the nurse is given the worm baby, and she departs, and then
they get like those big ass drills.
The protagonist still alive after this. Drills into their head, sends like one of the little like
probe.
There's a fancier name for it. Micro optic.
Yeah.
Fiber optic worm in there, and then it starts playing back its memories, quote. And this is a live action section where like an older man with like long claws is like setting something up, getting like this little ritual going. He goes into a room filled with like thousands of these protagonist soldiers, and he presumably gives a map to a protagonist. It doesn't look the same as the one that we've seen this far.
Yeah.
So we don't know at what point, if this is a past trip of theirs or they have a collective memory, because like this movie is like a dream, so there's not a clear like purpose or narrative for what's happened. There might be one to uncover, but it might be just largely a linear progression of events.
Yeah.
A sequence of events.
They don't tell you anything. There's no dialogue. And I mean, the guy the guy with the fucking nails, he just grunts. As he's like having to do just random shit, and like he's following this new guy. Like again, we don't know if this is a new guy they're having to send in, but like, oh my god, I mean stuff happens that kind of assumes that like this guy is a new person, because he goes down the levels, and this time he goes to a different level than the other guy, which also means like, okay, so they can go to different levels, because when he stops at full like flat ground.
Yeah.
So like they can move the tube around,
or maybe this like liquid, this ocean that these capsules are deposited into is more like this liquid reality stew.
Oh yeah,
because like if this is supposed to be like if there's like different levels and a different level of dissension, and it might just like they're looking for something, and they just like we're sending these soldiers to go to reference back. I mean, you know, it's all interpretive.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was interesting too, because this new guy, he's seen a lot more what's the word, like, because whenever the guy, the long-nailed man, was giving him the map, he took it out of his hand and shut the door. So he's like, okay, ready to fucking go, I guess.
He has a bit more, like, I guess, aggression, the personality.
Yeah. And he gets down there, and it's really weird because, like, we're in a destroyed city now, which is different from before, but it's, like, kind of feels like sulfuric or whatever.
Because the original protagonist, they found like an abandoned city, but it seemed like more rust-colored. And the second protagonist goes to the city that kind of feels like covered in, I forget the word for it, basically like the sea green, like corrosion on like a penny or something.
Yeah,
at least that's how that's what
it felt, kind of yellowish too, like greenish yellow. Yeah. And there's for some reason aliens, red aliens. I assume they're aliens.
Well, they look like I forget what they're called, but they're like the little like diamond-headed like virus organisms.
Yeah, yeah.
That are like zapping these little like tiny people, and then when the protagonist gets on a motorcycle, he's like driving through the city. You see the shit people again, but there's like a minotaur getting blown by these little fur monsters.
Yeah, there's that happening.
And then a monkey stomping on a little shit man.
Yeah, the dude eventually, he actually sees another one of his kind, the protagonist, briefly in a window sill, and he finally finds a car. He goes through a fucking war zone for some reason that's like batshit crazy. It was actually pretty cool too, like all the sounds of like metal and stuff, just randomly all these different tanks, World War I, World War II. I see like, you even see a mech. So there's a lot of these, I noticed a lot of these toys, like these mechs from, if anybody knows, her name is Ashley Woods, and she does like, she's comic book art, but she's famous for like this designer's line of toys, and it's these robot mechs. I think it's part of like this comic story about these robots in a world with zombies, and they're trying to protect the last humans or something. It's really crazy. I love her art, and I noticed that in there, so I thought that was pretty cool. And he makes it to an area where there's more briefcases, but he goes down into like a mine shaft, kind of like
he's driving perpetually down like this like inverted Aztec pyramid, like very like concentric like squares.
Yeah, just
the gas mileage on this rundown army Jeep.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm sorry, we're going through the whole movie, but like it's a fucking crazy ass movie.
Obviously, we want you to see it, but also we're trying to just get out of our head what we saw and just talk through it.
Yeah, I guess we should have said spoilers.
At some point, it cuts back to the nurse with the worm baby and how she's kind of like seemingly like she's sneaking it out of the hospital. She comes to this great door and opens up, and there's this giant hooded robed
floating
specter spirit sorcerer with like a
plague doctor's
mask, and she sort of hands the worm to this creature, and the door shuts, and there's like kind of like this sad little moment of her like going to her little tiny hovel of like a pillow and like these little trinkets she's managed to like get for herself. She lays down to go to sleep, and last to see of her is her eyes snapped awake with the baby screaming, and it's the journey of this black robed figure descending further into like this other hellscape with the baby is just squalling non-stop.
Like, goddamn, like.
Eventually that sort of settles down, and you cut to like what I call the tumor grandpa and his little experiment room.
Yeah, it was
hideous. Just like he's like a robed person with just like big boils and tumors spilling out of a hood.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
it's probably one of the most beautiful segments in the entire movie.
It was really interesting because like you can obviously tell that this is like separate from everything else, where it's like okay, this is their own little personal leisurely kind of area, because nothing from the hell is like interfering with what's happening in here.
Yeah, I'm assuming the thing that took the baby thing is the master of all this land, and this little goblin man, he is the assistant, the servant of this person, and he's like having his own little world.
He's like his own little god, basically, because again, he like some of these experiments are definitely his as well, or he helps run them. Like we're getting back to shit where there's two monsters. One of them has a huge dong, shoveling shit. That's literally their job.
Towers of shit, and they're like fighting each other.
They're so mad.
Iron masks and just like these grotesque monsters, and he's like, I guess breaks up their fight by electrocuting them. It's like, get back to work, and it seems like there's this weird moment of just like resignation and defeat with the monsters, but then they go back to fighting again.
and then there's this really weird part where he puts out food for these two statues of hands, with each statue having an eyeball in the hand.
Where all the fingers meet, that's where an eyeball is. Kind of like a century.
I guess that's their lunch. This bucket of not bone chicken. I don't know. Oh gosh. And then we get to another really interesting part where we see this, I guess, this treasure of this guy. This little guy he has this little environment that's really the most the prettiest, most vibrant, most like sanitized place in this whole fucking movie is this little garden of Eden,
almost like a terrarium.
Yeah, and he dumps a bunch of mealworms in there to feed these little octopus people. And then shit gets worse, because then he's like, he releases this creature into there to get one of the little octopus people's baby, kills it, and then
it's got
the mom abandons that shit. She's like, fuck that.
And then the guy just laughs, and
there's like a cut to like these cockroaches like playing cards and at a tea party. It's just like Alice in Wonderland shit.
Like, damn, all right, this is kind of, it's like Alice in Wonderland, but also a Garden of Eden. And then that's it. That's his little experiment. So then Spectre Plague Doctor comes in, and
you forget he's also just like the one time anybody in this movie fucking cleans. He's like wiping shit down. He's like,
he's cleaning. He's dusting. He's dusting all these clocks, all his shit. At some point, he looks through a telescope to see like what's going on. I think one of the things we can assume is that maybe one of the fucking no, because that happens later. There's a bunch of explosions that look like nuclear explosions.
If this scent that he's looking through is a view to the outside world, or just like this self-contained viewing, it's a TV, but it's an old-timey nautical instrument. And then the black robe figure finally arrives with the screaming worm, and then
she holds it like this too.
He holds it like both hands over, like holding it overhand, like just like while it's falling. He puts it in this receptacle, and it goes through this like elaborate process to basically juice the worm, use the juice to turn it to like, he turns it into a metal, takes the metal, grinds it up, and then gives the glittery powder to the robe person. The robe person throws it into like this portal.
Yeah.
Then it shows like space and the Big Bang or something.
Like it starts from the Big Bang. It shows literally all of like Earth's history, but then you see a UFO, a retro UFO too.
Yeah, like, the old 50s UFOs.
You see like life starting on planet Earth. You see a bunch of the fetuses. You see cities rise up and then cities fall, war and stuff like that. And then we get into like some more abstract sequences too. Honestly, that whole sequence, if you've seen the end of 2001: Space Odyssey, it immediately is like akin to that.
It's like a lot of bright colors, like swirling, like liquids.
Like it looks like if you're tripping on like some if somebody did like acid while they were fucking watching this,
they were having the worst night of their life.
They would lose it.
They would shit their pants and die.
Like, man, that was fucking insane. And then it eventually culminates to where like it goes like all the way to the end, but then it flashes the events of the movie itself until it goes all the way back, and then the malfunctioning clock on the dynamite stops malfunctioning, and it finally explodes, I think. Right?
It cuts back to it. The last little bit is literally a blur, but I know the movie ends cutting back to the live action portions, like kind of like the docking bay where they sent the second protagonist into the goop water, and the old elderly man with the claws kind of like peering into it with all the other soldiers standing by, and then that's essentially the end of the movie.
Yeah.
We just recounted the entire fucking movie. Like, I think that was every single bit of detail. Not everything, like, visually. But everything that happened, that was, like, pretty one-to-one.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's only 85 minutes. It's pretty short, in and out.
And, I mean...
But it just, like, it does feel like this journey through hell in, like, the best way. Because it just, like... It feels, like, scary and bleak and just, like, this weird awe, just like how big everything is, and you just feel so tiny and helpless.
Yeah,
in every single scenario.
No, the scale for it is fucking crazy. Like this diorama they built it is insane, and then like even then it's like the scale gets even smaller when you have the little gnome people and the little octopus people. It's really it's fantastic.
It's probably one of the best visual representations of a dream I've seen in a very long time, because like it just because you know how a lot of times dreams can be have a concrete plot, and then it gets kind of like loosey toward the end or in the middle, but like sometimes it feels very tangible, and then it just gets really surreal and starts to morph into bleed into other things, and how a lot of times you're following one plot and then that disappears or it morphs into something else. It's like after a certain point, that second protagonist just it disappears from the story.
Yeah, like we don't ever see him again. We assume. It was like, you want to talk about weird? It's my kind of fucking weird. It's weird.
I really enjoyed it, and like everybody on my horror timeline has just been very positive about it.
Yeah.
It makes me want more strange, surreal horror stop motions. Like I'm hoping because Junkhead is the one movie I was thinking of. It's another stop motion film that's getting a limited release, and hopefully, considering how successful Mad God has been on streaming, that we can get that in some capacity as well.
Yeah, I gotta look this up. Because if it's Junkhead, the one
Junkhead, the 2017 movie by Takahide Hori.
Oh fuck! Oh man, I remember this. Holy shit! I remember seeing like a portion of this, but never, of course, never getting to see more. Damn. Yeah. Okay. That would be sick.
That's Mad God, though.
I mean, I'll say this. I would recommend it, but I would definitely sort of give it a cautious recommend on the fact that because it's such a ambient film, there's a lot of really weird, disturbing imagery. Like, one, it's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea just from like how gross and scary looking it is, and two, like because it's not a conventional plotted movie and it doesn't have hardly any dialogue, it's probably not gonna resonate with every single person, and that's okay. That's just how movies like this are.
Yeah.
So like, if you find yourself, I would say give it like a trailer watch, and if that's like a weird that you feel like you can vibe with, I say check it out. But like I said, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5. Just know it may not be for everybody.
I gave it 5 out of 5 because it was just right off the bat. I was completely just amazed by this. Like this, it's a work of art, obviously, and that stop motion and like everything like about it, it's just fucking crazy. I mean, it's simple, but like watching, I was like, yeah, like so much shit is referenced in this movie, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's kind of the world. There's like no matter like how much we can sanitize or sanitize stuff and like our media and stuff, there's just poop everywhere.
Yeah, you can't hide the poop.
And capitalism and hell and
I feel like some people might find the capitalism bit a little too on the nose.
Like it was a wild fucking ride, and I think it's Criterion. I know we mention you a lot. If you want to add something to your little animation collection, boom.
John Criterion, we know you're out there. We know you're listening. You got your finger on the pulse, and I think we have one for you.
Yeah. Last thoughts?
5 out of 5. I loved it. I gave it 4.5. But I upped it after I thought about it a little bit because it fucking ruled.
Yeah.
I want a documentary on it. I would
love to see the making of.
Yeah, I would absolutely. Yeah.
Some behind the scene pics. I would like to know like how big these sets were, and like, and just the fact that this was like 15 years and just like time and labor and like passion to do this is like, that is just incredible to just like to be working on something so long and not be able to like really finish it. And I feel like that can be the strength and weakness of the movie, because it was something that's worked on in piecemeal for 15 years. There's probably going to be some pieces that maybe feel out of place or like may not be as strong as others. So like that might be a positive or negative, or like maybe just like a way to sort of write off the parts that may not be as strong to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll come back and discuss our second film, Incantation. Hang tight.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have our second installment of today's episode, and I'm discussing Incantation, a Taiwanese found footage horror film. And this was recently brought to Netflix, and part of our double feature last night for Wenzel's birthday. And I didn't know a super lot about this movie. There's some murmurings on my horror timeline, but I was very pleasantly surprised by this movie. What did y'all think?
I fucking loved it. I went in expecting like a fun movie, but I came out fucking loving it. One of my favorite found footage movies of all time. It's just an absolute banger, visually beautiful, and it was just It's just so nice. It was scary too. There were some genuinely poop your pants scary moments.
And just like a really good feeling of dread throughout the movie too.
Yep.
Wenzel, what were your sort of initial thoughts?
So when I first heard about this movie, I heard it by in passing. I saw Incantation. It was like some woman breaks a taboo, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. Then Trevor Henderson posts on Instagram a poster for the movie, and I was like, fuck, that looks really good. And then Pat sends a message saying, hey, can we watch Incantation after Mad God? And I looked and I was like, yeah, let's watch Incantation. And then it was I thought we were going in for a fun found footage film, because found footage is kind of like my warm blanket when it comes to horror.
It can be a lot of fun. It can be silly. It can be like a bad fun. But this was like, oh shit, we're here, we're in.
Yeah, no, I told Colt this coming over here. I can't stop thinking about this fucking movie. It's really it caught me completely off guard by how much I love it. I even rearranged my favorites on Letterboxd to include it in there, because it's it's my favorite, one of my favorite movies this year, one of my favorite horror movies, and probably my favorite found footage film. I'm not kidding. Obviously without any bias, I can't do that. I think it's the best found footage horror film, in my opinion. Second would be Noroi
the Curse, which we talked about last year before.
It's been a long
year
time.
before 2020.
We had go back and check out our found footage horror movie episode. That'll be well worth your time. There's a lot of fun movies on there, maybe some fun, bad, but then some really genuinely good movies that you should check out.
Yeah.
I would agree. This is probably next to Noroi, my favorite found footage. I feel like, to me, I personally like Noroi better, but there's just a thorough line of dread that was kind of just tinkling in the back of my head the whole movie. And to me it balances horror, sentimentality, and several other emotions, and really good balance, because there's little moments of just light humor in it to kind of help you get to the next bit, because obviously you need to balance out the terror with funny bits. And there's a bit where the little girl is she doesn't get a puppy, and she's pouting, and she gets a little ice cream. It's how is it? It's okay,
I guess.
Begrudgingly. But to get to the point, the whole movie is sort of framed as this beleaguered woman's visual recounting of this terrible incident, played out in as edited together videos, basically explaining how this misfortune befell her, how that affects her personally, her young daughter, and her trying to reclaim custody of this daughter that she's lost contact with, and sort of the explanation of how everything sort of winds together. Now, we won't be getting too deep into the content, because obviously a lot of it we think is best preserved for personal viewing to retain maximum impact.
Absolutely. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, because this movie is just fantastic. I think it should be appreciated and viewed with very little context.
Yeah, so definitely know that going in. We won't get too deep in the weeds in terms of plot details. But we did want to talk about it, and plus, it's on Netflix. Everybody has access to that, so definitely
give it a
take
go.
some time to see that, because obviously Shudder might be a more off the beaten path streaming service, but if you can only watch one, this is the most accessible one.
Yeah, true.
And I loved it, and what I really enjoy from a creative sense, but also resented from just a person, oh fuck, it's in my head, it's freaking me out, man. Is it does this great bit of poisoning your own unconscious thoughts against you, which is how the danger, the curse works within the film, is sort of your unconscious mind wandering, and sort of it sets up like these little things at the beginning of the movie to be like, hey, if you think about this, or keep these certain things in mind, or look at this certain thing, and like how those elements come back over the course of the film. You're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So what really gets me about this film is just how fascinating it is. Like you said, that beginning bit where it's like, if you look at this train, is it going forward or is it going backwards? But you're using your mind to determine that, whether like, are you actually making the train go forward or backwards in this image? Like, are you controlling it with your mind, basically? It kind of pulls a little bit from Tolpa's, the whole thing of like thoughts taking form, depending on like how much like mental power or energy you have.
How much belief, how many people know about it, and like the strength or weakness of this energy of this curse is dependent on the thoughts that are connected to it.
And I think that might be giving too much away. I don't know, because like you said, that of like how you say like poisoning your mind, because that's like the main mechanic of this film. And like by the time you realize it, by the time you get to the twist, you're like, it's already too late. It's like, fuck, like that, like that's one of the big things for this. I was like, fuck, you got me.
Because like the sort of the 4D chess that the movie's playing is that obviously you have the straightforward story of like, oh, this is spooky, scary, and like seeing the horrific ordeals that this mother and child go through, and like her past as it comes back to haunt her and her family. But also like you have this extra layer of fear that the movie is instilling on you with this little like thought experiment, and it's just like you're being scared in like this two-form fashion, and like the screen can't protect you, because a lot of movies just like, oh, it's scary, but it's on this side of the TV screen. But this movie plays into like, oh fuck, you're in my head.
Essentially breaking the fourth wall, and it's very manipulative and insidious, and it's so fucking good. And like when you're talking about with the custody and motherhood, like that's where you kind of get into the more like kind of grounded and like very like very like emotional part, is like how it deals with motherhood and how it deals like with this woman trying to get custody for something, and then like her own like mental illness of having dealt with this with this very like you can say horrific event that happened, which I love, like the little sprinklings of like kind of you get throughout the film, where she'll start off by, I violated a taboo, and it's just like, what the fuck is it? And then you'll hear her talking to people, or certain conversations, it's like, what deity is this? And then like it cuts off where it's like the deity is, and it's just like it's just like what is this? What is going on? Because
you're definitely teased the whole movie.
You're teased the whole movie, and it goes into the mechanic of it itself. So it's perfect. It plays perfectly into it. And what I thought was interesting was I didn't realize like this is slightly based on a true story, slightly, because it takes a lot of like liberties, and it's like still very much a work of fiction. But there was a Taiwanese family in 2005, I think, who were quoted as being haunted by the gods, and I think the daughter or somebody, she either died or was very afflicted, and I just love that wording, that phrase. Not haunted by demons, not haunted by ghost spirits, no, haunted, plagued by the gods, which that's the thing I love most about this movie, and I love about a lot of Noroi is I mean, you get some interesting fun stuff with demons and Christian Judeo stuff, but I think it's more interesting when you have these abstract beings, these gods, for whoever reason, are just haunting, terrifying, just no understanding within the human mind of why they're doing what they're doing, and they're just complex, convoluted things that are like requirements and rituals and situations of like, how are these things invoked and how to keep them repelled and stuff like that. And it's so interesting, and this really works with that.
And this being a type of religious horror movie that you don't really see represented, because like obviously there's a lot of possession movies. There's a lot of like religious horror when it comes to like Christianity, which makes sense because Christianity is the most represented religion in like a Western sense. Yeah. So having this Eastern horror movie where it's like this fringe Buddhist sect essentially, and like how like you as like a Western viewer obviously are not going to be as inclined to be aware of like what a Eastern religion looks like or how it behaves, or just like, oh no, it could get me.
Yeah, or like like you said, the taboos that were involved. It was, oh my gosh, it was just so interesting, and like this very much invoked like Hell's Paradise and Jujutsu Kaisen vibes for me personally, because Jujutsu Kaisen involves curses, and I think all of that is fascinating and interesting how Akutame utilizes that and like certain Buddhist symbolism and imagery, and then the same thing in Hell's Paradise, which uses Buddhism and also Taoist, which is like if you know anything about that, seeing all of that imagery and symbols and idols being like turned unholy and impure, like I mean, you get that like with the Christian stuff, and it's like obviously that's terrifying when you recognize it, but then like when you see it for this and having context stuff, it's just like it's just as equally terrifying, like if you're seeing a demon.
Yeah, because I guess even the layperson's understanding or visual recognition of Buddhism, it's like it seems very docile and like positive, like religion or idea, but then when you see like all these sort of this Buddhist imagery like kind of turned on its head, so to speak,
twisted.
So to see this, you're just like, oh fuck, I don't understand this. And there's always something that I love seeing in a horror movie. It's like this far away little group of people who are like doing their weird like private like deranged set of just like more recognizable like theology, and it's just like weird things happen in the corners of the map and the edges of the woods. You're just like, who are these like hideaway people, and like how did this version of this belief system turn into it, and like why is it feel so like icky, like because even when you start getting into this person's past, they're just like, are you sure we should be doing this? Because they're like, they're very interested in like in the spiritual and like ghostly things, and just kind of like, as adventurous as they are, they're kind of like, this feels different.
Yeah, absolutely. There's even a there's this sequence towards the end that that it's just a singular image and then words and voices kind of singing, and man, I just fucking love it. I love that. Like,
there's a lot of 4D playing. Cole, what are some of your favorite parts without getting into the spoilers too much?
That's the thing. I was trying to like think like what my favorite parts are. I was like, no, that's spoiler. No, that'll give too much away. I can't really say without giving too much away.
Or are there like any like general vibes that you could say like, oh, like this one got me, or like something like that? Or could you say you were like successfully spooked by this movie?
Yes, I was successfully spooked by something that would definitely give, everyone in the room was fucking scared.
I will say I love watching movies with the gang because like we're a very reactive crowd, and there was one scare JoJo did a flip.
Yeah, no, I mean it got me too. I was like, "Fuck, really? That just happened?"
And you're just like, you're tense the whole movie just from like you have the 4D chess thing happening, and you have what's happening in front of you, and then you get like a big scare, and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it made me really want to watch more foreign horror movies, like really fucking bad,
dude. Yes. Like, because the director was what actually talked about too. Like, he was inspired not only by the true story, but also too about like cursed email chains, and like that made me want more like you said, more foreign horror, but also like horror with like kind of that abstract, like contemporary feel, but at the same time invoking ancient, religious, rituals, beings, things, culture like that. It made me want more.
I will say, because of the whole like sort of thought poisoning element of the movie, it reminds me a lot of the Japanese horror movies or horror stories that I've listened to. There's a podcast I listen to called Koabana, and this Australian interpreter collects a lot of these like spooky, scary stories from like Japanese message boards and sort of like presents them on our podcast. And a lot of them have this element. It's like, oh, be careful if you listen to this or you watch this, because it might invoke something. And like I feel like that's an element that's much more prevalent in Eastern horror stories or storytelling than really Western. I mean, other than like maybe Freddy Krueger, there's not really an element that's present like that in Western horror stories.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is that one fucking. There was that one movie about the that man. It was like, don't look at him, don't even think about him. Is it the Bye Bye Man?
The pee pee poo poo.
The pee pee poo poo man.
Like, it's so fucking stupid. Yeah. It's so funny because I was telling them this is literally. No, fuck, I can't say that. It's kind of...
Yeah.
Sorry. I can't say that. That'd be kind of a spoiler. I don't want to give it away, because if I reference this, then you're going to probably piece together what happens in this.
So like, forgive us for being a little more tight-lipped in this segment when we explained out Mad God in detail. But obviously, these are two very different films going for two very different things. So it's not really as much to spoil about Mad God, because like it's a non-verbal, really just sort of a visual like display of one artist's like creative abilities. That's obviously that's what all movies are, but it's a much more visual story than like a plot, where this one is much more
character and plot
driven and like story driven. Which I will say, like, I was really surprised by the critical reception of the movies being kind of middling, because we were all very positive on it.
I don't get that. I was like, this is like easily like a cult. I mean, Colt said it's probably going to be a cult classic, and it'll probably be reevaluated later. But I'm like, right off the bat, I'm like, this is spectacular. This is amazing. This is a Taiwanese film, and it's like, this needs more love. I mean, this is great. Yeah.
And from what I've gathered, it seems like, of course, horror is among the most subjective genres. So, like, what one person may find entertaining or scary is another person's, like, drivel. But it seems like a more common criticism of the movie is, like, the actual found footage aspect of it, in the sense that it doesn't feel like this is found footage, quote. It's more so like this is something someone edited together. 'Cause it's not like you're watching one video throughout and it's just like one tape end and it just continues the same visual through line. Because I will say there are a couple of moments that don't really make sense in the footage sense, because there's there's some reverse shots of like, you have the mother holding the camera, like for her POV of a thing happening, and then there's an unexplained camera view of like facing her. It's like, hey, where did that come from? And there is a singular moment that happens that's not kind of out of place, and it's not mentioned again, where the little girl is like going down a hall and you see this ghostly hand reach out for her, and then there's like a replay segment, and that's never done again.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of out of place. So there might be some discontent with like how the movie is sort of like stitched together in terms of like this bigger, I guess, presentation.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be like, you're just finding a video, which I think Noroi the Curse is a bit more seamless in that aspect.
Yeah.
How it's like, this is or at least there's a larger framing device for it that makes sense why that story is compiled together, because there's literally a prologue of the movie of just, someone edited this together.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really presented in this film.
No, I can definitely see that criticism, because I was like enthralled by it and just completely like sucked into it. So like I noticed it, but then I was like, I don't fucking care, because
that's not enough to be a deterrent. It seems like that really bothers some people.
Yeah, I know. And I would say that, like, if anything, you could consider it experimental found footage film.
I mean, it's definitely found, and plus, like, found footage is already a very controversial subgenre anyway.
And I would say this is experimental because of how it does found footage and how it tells the story. I would say that like it's a subsect of found footage by how experimental it is, and I think that's where it's like I can give it like leeway and like okay, it's kind of different in that regard of how it presents.
It's doing a new thing, and plus like it's just really fun to see a type of horror, a very strong horror movie tell a different type of story, and or like this new flavor to like a religious horror movie, because like when can you say you saw a Buddhist horror movie? Really?
I think the found footage editing thing is, I think that opinion is null, because in the ending it's still found footage, because like I think in the end that person wanted to be found.
I was gonna say, because I was thinking about it as Pat was telling us, I was like, it seems like though that like either she's the one that edited it, the main character, the mother, or like she passed it along to somebody who took it upon themselves to edit it. And
then of course I mean it depends on how deep in the weeds you get your nitpick, and like how they get the footage, how are they able to like understand the story and not be like affected by like the existential dread or like the effects of this like force that's surrounding these characters. So like obviously there has to be some disengaged from like the icky sticky rules in order for plot things to work in a certain ways, but it just depends on how much of a stickler you are for that. But like honestly, I really enjoyed this movie. I was properly spooked. I give it a hearty 4. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I gave it a very overwhelming 5. Like holy fuck. I'm gonna say it. Criterion. I don't know how you are. I don't know the found footage section of Criterion if they even have any. Hey, here you go. Add it.
This be the first start.
First start right here. Bam. Already a gem. I mean, really though, I think it should be like, whenever this gets like a physical release, I'm buying that, because holy shit, I want that in my collection, and I think it deserves that kind of treatment.
And Colt, what was your score?
I gave it 4.5 out of 5. Thought it was fucking fantastic. Great fucking movie. Could have used more Patrick and SpongeBob, because they do make an appearance. Patrick makes an appearance.
I mean, honestly, I think any movie can be enhanced by my presence, but I'm just one man.
Not you, Patrick Star was
whatever. It could have used more Among Us.
Yeah. Did you not see Patrick Star?
No.
In the daycare, there was a Patrick plushie right next to the big dog.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was a massive Patrick plushie. And I was thinking, like, is SpongeBob big over there? That's strange.
I guess SpongeBob would have to be big everywhere. I mean, it's SpongeBob.
Also, too, it's like, I was terrified the entire movie, so I didn't notice Patrick Star.
It's one of those movies like you're looking everywhere. Okay, there's going to be a boogin, there's going to be a thing, and you're just like, eyeballs are just like wide open, like looking everywhere.
Yeah, like you're literally the eyes and Mad God just looking around. What was I going to say? Fuck. Oh my god, I forgot what I was gonna fucking say. God damn it. Okay.
One bit we forgot to mention is like there's a fair amount of body horror in the movie too.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
Especially
holy crap.
Yeah. There's definitely I would say my cautious parts, if you have any sort of sensitivity to like children in danger, definitely approach this one with some caution. If that's something you're sensitive to,
if you have trypophobia,
like child, like that, like child endangerment. If that's something you're sensitive to, go in with some trepidation. That's kind of really my big one. Other than just like general ooky spooky.
Yeah.
Definitely don't watch this movie and drive home to your house in the woods at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, JoJo.
Have you all heard from them? Because
I saw JoJo a little while ago before the show at the Comic Strips Wonder Woman Day.
That's good.
Other than that, I'd be like, JoJo got spirited away.
But then we get a message from JoJo saying, "Guys, help! I'm in the woods," and it's like, Who did we see at comic
It's 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Who did we see at comic strip then?
Oh fuck!
And then it just shows like camera footage, CC footage of JoJo, but they're like, they just have their cat ears and they're like Bigfoot, like, like, oh fuck,
Oh fuck! like a specter has assumed JoJo's form.
Yeah.
It's like you know what? I was a little concerned. I was humored at first, like how much twerking JoJo was doing, but now it's like this seems at a frequency that seems a little ghoulish. they're twerking to break down the spirit boundaries.
That makes sense. Adds up.
God, JoJo, you need to calm down with your twerking. You hearing me, JoJo?
Stop shaking the ass.
The clap of their ass cheeks is summoning the demons from the other side.
What are you doing? What was that?
Wenzel trying to do like a visual bit over here.
I'm just thinking about like, and then there's like chanting like, oh.
There's like this weird droning like chanting noise, and then you just see like the footage start shaking in and out.
Yeah,
and like the pop heads start turning around.
Damn, JoJo, what are you doing?
JoJo got
what are you invoking?
Yeah, JoJo spent too much time out in the woods. They found the elders out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great movie. Oh man, I had something to say. It had something to do with Patrick Star, but I can't fucking remember it now.
He's juicy. He's thick as hell.
Cut it. Cut that off.
Well, in any case, AYCH gives both Mad God and Incantation a hearty recommendation. Please seek out both of these movies. We think you'll be well served from both of those. If you've seen those already, or if you go out to check them out, please let us know. We'd love to hear back from you. We'd love to talk about it. Our DMs and comments are always wide open.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
in the meantime, we just want to thank you so much for listening today. We had a great time discussing these films, and I think it'd be a safe bet you can hear more horror movie discussion from us coming in the not too distant future.
That's true. You're probably going to hear some more movie talk in general.
Yeah, a lot more movie stuff coming up. We're going to be a little busy.
Yeah, and that's not a promise. That's a threat.
That is a threat.
You better watch your ass.
Yeah.
Here's a teaser. Banana.
And here's another teaser. Oosh, the thunder.
Yeah.
Here's another teaser. That's not really.
That's a visual bit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what to say. I don't want to spoil that. So,
no more teasers. You've been teased enough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've been gooned enough. So
fuck. You're leaking with teaser pre-juice.
No, I'm thinking
it's like AYCH, the perfect companion for gooning and baiting.
No, I'm just thinking about now, like banana, and like the video I sent you, like. We got to do that soon.
Yeah, whatever that is. But anyhow, thank you so much for listening today. We had a great time. We hope you did too. So be sure to follow us wherever podcasts are found. And that's Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere else where podcasts are found. We're most likely there. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever those are found. Helps us out, keeps us visible, puts us in front of new people. We always appreciate you when you do it. You can follow us on our socials on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast, and on Letterboxd at AllYouCanHear. If you're on the Cajun greatness side of things, you listen to it the week it comes out. We have a brand new episode where we discussed the National Treasure sequel, National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets.
Oh, you're finally getting around to it.
Yeah, that was going to be our 4th of July episode, but then stuff came up, so we're happening it a little belated response, but still it's Nicolas Cage and some daring heists of national treasures. So check that out. That'll be coming at you this week. And lastly, you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name.
My favorite book of secrets is the Bible.
Whoa. Hot take.
Thank you for listening. You can check me out, Wenzel, on Twitter at Wenzel Wilkie. You can follow my art Instagram at Ward of Wenzel. Currently there, I I should say my store, worldofwinzy.bigcartel.com. Go there. I have some stuff up for pre-order if you want to go check that out. I appreciate it. And then go to my Bookstagram where I talk about books, at Wenzel Banters. That's fun time there. Go to my link tree where I have my links to my Goodreads, my Letterboxd, and my store in there, and some other things. Thank you. Oh, and if you like this too, if you do watch this movie Incantation, check out Noroi. Something kind of like in the similar vein, sort of, is Department of Truth. Read that.
Yes.
I need to go read more Taiwanese stuff now.
And the Noroi the Curse is also streaming on Shudder.
That is true.
Also, go buy Wenzel's stuff because I'm buying it right now. Oh my God. I hope you guys are quick enough to buy it before I do. I have it all in my hands. But I don't know if I can pull my wallet fast enough to buy it all. But if you guys buy it before I do, it's limited. It's very limited. Go buy it. I'm a very slow wallet puller outer because that pocket's so damn deep.
My wallet's right here. I beat Colt.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Too slow for you.
I'm not really buying all of it. I'm trying to tease people into getting Wenzel's stuff. But I am buying some sticker packs.
Yeah.
He posted a teaser of a froggy. It's very cool.
Thank you.
And the link to Wenzel's shop is in the description on today's episode.
Ooh, thank you.
And it's been in the description for a few weeks.
Follow me on Twitter, ColtD00. I am now throwing a giant monkey at your house. It's crashing through the window. Bye-bye.
Yep. Stay tuned, everybody. We have more stuff coming up from Colt and Wenzel, and we might have a couple of Pat projects in the works too, so keep your eye out on the AYCH feed. We have plenty more stuff coming your way. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.